fork in the road game for the Seahawks. Does the Seahawks making the playoffs this year affect anything they do moving forward? Keep in mind, Seattle right now has the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft, and Denver's pick. And they also have their own pick, which right now is 19, whatever that's worth. That can move because there's half the league is not half, but like a quarter of the league is 8-8 right now. So are they at a turning point this weekend with what they do next to quarterback? Crazy to think. Geno, the only quarterback that survived the season in the NFC West.
That's insane. You told me that before.
Really, when you think about it, he's survived, and all the other teams have had double quarterback injuries, right? Colt McCoy and Kyler have gotten hurt. They actually had a 3rd injury with Trace. The Rams had Stafford. And what's his name? The guy that runs around got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Wolford.
Yeah.
And then the Niners had 2 starters hurt. So, yeah.
Well, do you know that Derek Carr, his contract becomes fully guaranteed? Not when the league year starts, but 2/5/23. So, like a week after the Super Bowl, they have.
Wait, what day is the Super Bowl?
Like 2/10 or 2/9 or that
so
week
before the Super Bowl. You said February 5th.
February 15th.
Oh, 15th. Got it.
So the Super Bowl is. I think it's the day after Valentine's Day. So the Raiders need to either have a trade agreed upon, or they have to decide to cut him a month before the league year starts. I heard someone say that yesterday, and I was like, is that true? Look, that's the way his contract, which is actually, in fairness, if you're going to sign a fake contract and get a no-trade clause, that's a pretty good little thing to have in there for Derek's. Like, you're going to get rid of me, we're going to fucking know fast.
Yeah,
like you're not going to be able to cut me after the league year starts, and that some people have already, gotten married to other quarterbacks.
Right. And the other scenario would be he agrees to some contract rework and a trade. That's the other scenario, which is similar to just the straight up trade scenario.
In what world, unless the trade scenario includes a new contract, which is very possible, I think it's, if I'm Derek and you're truly pretty butthurt right now, which he clearly is and the family is, would you do business with the Raiders when you can force their hand to be cut on 2/15 and be a full-on free agent?
Well, the benefit of doing business with them is you have $40 million guaranteed to you, right?
But wouldn't, as a true free agent, he get more than $40 million? Like, isn't a big
you would
reason...
think, but that 40 is 2023 $40 million, right? That's his number next year.
No, it's 33, 23, and then like 7.5. It adds up to 40 over 2 years.
Yeah, I mean that would be your agent's right to figure out. But yeah, if you think you can make more money as a free agent, which how could he not?
He gets 33 next year, and then it only guarantees 7 the following year. I think he could do better than that on the open
I agree.
market.
So he should not return any phone calls.
Because those teams that are talking to the Raiders, like 216, wall talk.
Also, if you're Derek, you're like, yeah, I don't want whoever I'm going to have just traded their 1st or their 2nd or their 3rd round pick or whatever.
Well, so if you're Seattle and you have this incredible pick, the Denver Broncos, who play the Chargers this week, who might have a chance to win because the Chargers, actually they have, unless the Ravens win, the Ravens can still get the 5 if they win and the Chargers lose. So the Chargers are incentivized to win to keep that seed, which you would say is actually a pretty good seed because you're playing the winner of the NFC South. And even if it's the Jags, who are technically hot, I think, are the Chargers going to be favored in that game, given the way they've been playing against the Jags on the road?
Yeah.
4-5?
Yeah.
So Seattle, like let's assume Denver loses, and that pick is 2 or 3. It's going to be the highest they're going to draft for a long time, right? They've proven this year they can fucking get to 8-9 wins with Geno Smith. Like, they got a good culture, they got good players, and they got more picks coming. Why wouldn't they be in the mix for Derek? Now, if you tell me John Schneider loves Will Levis, loves CJ Stroud, he's also proven that, like, he can love a quarterback, sign a quarterback, and then just figure it out. Isn't that part of Pete Carroll's deal? Like, would they be against, well, let's sign Derek and we'll draft a quarterback? Maybe the guy sits for a year. We get 2 years of Derek. Like, maybe that's in vogue now, the sitting thing.
Is it back?
Isn't most things in sports like life kind of cyclical?
Yeah. Yeah. Quarterbacks have gotten a little cheaper, right? Actually,
The
rookies.
draft, yeah, rookies, exactly.
Rookies have gotten cheaper. Yeah, I mean, you can if you just want look at we're going to go to the playoffs with Geno, who threw for 4,000 yards, led the league and potentially go to the playoffs. Led the league.
My point is, if he's cut, Seattle, you could argue win or lose. Like Geno's really come back to earth. Wouldn't Seattle be, if they're interested in Derek? Is there a better spot that Derek shouldn't call back? Like, where's a better spot? Better in Indy, better in Carolina.
If Harbaugh were to go to Indy, I think Indy's team's pretty good, and their division not terrible. I mean, it's not a bad place to play. The NFC West not a ideal place. It's just hard, right? In theory, I guess the Rams and Cardinals are picking up the pieces. The Seahawks have done it before. I mean, they drafted Russ, and they at the time, like the money they gave Matt Flynn was not an insignificant amount of money. It wasn't what you're going to have to pay Derek, but
well, okay. Assuming Harbaugh takes a job, let's just say in 7 days.
He said he's planning to enthusiastically be coaching the Michigan Wolverines next year. But
let's just pick a date. Let's say January 12th. He's named the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. So in 7 days from today, which would actually, it'd probably be longer than that, right? Because they're going to have to do a little bit of a dog and pony show, interview some people. The league is very sensitive with that stuff now. Let's say January 20th, he's hired to be the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. That gives him less than a month to staff together, get everything figured out, and he's got to deal with Derek. That would happen pretty fast.
A trade, but if Derek's a free agent,
that's what I'm saying. But if he's a free agent, Seattle, their ducks are in a row much more than some of these teams that are in flux.
But if you're to me, it does not make sense to sign Derek and just to have a quarterback sit, because you can do it just to have a rookie sit, because you can do that with Geno. You already have Geno there. You like Geno. Geno's liked by the locker room. As Mikey B on the stream says, Geno played better than Derek this year, and he's probably cheaper.
Well, right? He is cheaper.
So if you're going to do we'll take a quarterback thing and let the veteran be the guy until the rookie's ready, I don't think you sign Derek to do that. I think you sign Derek if you believe.
Load up my squad with my picks.
Load up the squad with the picks. But again, part of this is, do you think Derek is an upgrade to Geno if you're the Seahawks? Because you could make the argument it's not.
Historically, it's not even close.
I think, the Derek is a much better quarterback than Geno Smith. And I do agree with you. I think Derek can be again. But, look around the league. There's a lot of teams look at the Niners for years.
My point is that's a pretty good spot for him. They run the Shanahan offense, which, he's kind of tailor-made for. They traded for Noah Fant, so they have a tight end that can run. They obviously have a stud running back. DK's a star. They easily could take another
good home field advantage. It's been a while.
They have
he's had a home field advantage.
A very positive coach, right?
Yeah.
If they signed you, they believed in you.
I'm just saying
I like that a lot more than the Carolinas and the Jets. I think that should be right up there. Assuming
Tampa,
they're interested.
no thank you.
Fuck that. New Orleans, I'm not dealing with that.
What about Atlanta?
I'm not doing it.
I don't think Atlanta's terrible. Good receivers, solid coach.
Tight end, running back.
Football team?
Not touching.
Jets? No.
Worst spot in the league for them.
Pittsburgh's kind of out now.
I'd say they're out.
They like their guy again. Did you say Tennessee?
No.
We had to check the contract on old Tannenbaum.
Would
Jewish?
Would Derek decline a straight up trade, Mac Jones, Derek Carr? Because I've seen people throw that out there.
Would he decline it? You mean, would he decline it just fundamentally based on not wanting to play for Bill? I think you decline it based on their coordinator. I cannot go there to play for the beard.
What if Bill O'Brien comes back?
Yeah, we could have, not a positive influence necessarily, but a really
negative guy.
How about Miami?
Is Harbaugh a positive influence?
Harbaugh has had a positive effect on his quarterbacks. Yeah.
But he's intense. Now Derek's
He is.
intense.
He is. How about Miami? Did you say Dolphins?
I did not.
Tough division. But I think that could be a good fit. Like if we're just comparing it to Seattle, I mean, talk about a positive coach. Now you got to play Belichick. You got to play the Bills. You got to play the Jets. I mean, that's suboptimal.
And part of this conversation starts, remember, David Carr, his brother, poo-pooed one of Derek's long-standing, not takes, but ultimatums. What word am I looking for?
Declarations.
Yeah,
claims.
I will retire
Yeah.
before I play for anyone else but the Raiders. And David said on NFL Network with Mooch just staring at him.
Well, yeah, Mooch was not nodding. Did you notice that? Not nodding at all.
Mooch is looking. That went completely out the window the moment they threw him in the trash.
Well, you know what?
Well, Derek, you don't want to play for anyone else. So if they traded you, like eventually part of that was like, what if they get rid of you? That was always going to be the case. So that was not a fair declaration. You just completely made that up because it does sound cool. It was a completely fake statement.
Yeah, it was, but I also respect that he's not following through on his word. I'd rather him not follow through on that word than follow through on that word.
I agree.
And go out like that. Let Mark Davis run him out of the league.